Welcome to Hop on Calls, a short, tactical, and practical podcast for outbound sales professionals looking to level up their game by learning from actual cold calls that I make every week live on LinkedIn. My name's Kevin Hopp, and I'm all about helping outbound sales professionals hone their craft and build high-quality pipeline. Let's dive right in and see what we can learn in this episode.
Hey, is this Kamal?
Yes, this is she.
Hey, Kamal. Kevin with Silver Sky Technologies. I know I'm calling you out of the blue here. Sounds like you're out and about. Do you have a minute to chat?
No, I'm actually not at the office right now. Is there anything I can help you with?
No. I mean, I was hoping to have this is basically a cold call, right? I was hoping to have a conversation back and forth about stuff. But if you're busy, focus on something else, and I can reach out another day.
Sure, no problem. Thank you.
All right. She was busy. So one of the things I try to do is, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Like, I didn't know when someone was or not. But one of the things I try and do is be very defensive of my time, right? So that was a lady who picked up. It was the right person. And I could tell, right? So this is a skill that I know Gen Z and millennials have a better ear for than some of the older generations. And it's just my observation, right? Because I train mostly late millennials and Gen Z folks. And you can tell when you're talking to somebody and they're doing something else. You can always hear the background. You can always hear that, like if someone's driving a car, you can always hear that, like the hum of the car noise in the background. You can hear that. You can hear when they're doing something else. So I heard immediately that she was like very close to the phone. So she picked it up like this. But she was also doing things. I heard the car door close. I heard, some footsteps. Yeah. So you call that stuff out because those are the little things that if you do a lot of cold calling, right? If you're doing a serious amount of cold calling where you're trying to have 15 to 20 conversations a day with targets in your market, which everybody should be doing. 90% of people don't. But if you're serious about having conversations, those are the things that are going to confound your results. Now, what do I mean by that? I call this concept the false negative. What's a false positive? It's an incorrect assumption that something's good. A false negative is the other way, right? Which is Kamal is going to tell me she's not interested. She's all good. Thanks for the call right away. And then I might say, oh, well.
Because she's distracted. Yeah.
She doesn't need cybersecurity. She has all of her business challenges solved. She has no problems. Good. She's great. And I'm going to mark that in my CRM. Kamal's company, they are perfect. Wrong. It's a false negative indicator. It's just that she's busy. She's not paying attention, right?
Yeah.
So I'm big on that. I don't know if you are.
Yeah, and those kind of people, you call them maybe a week later and they've completely forgotten who you are, right?
Yeah. Yep. Oh yeah. No, I leave her in the cadence. I'll actually call her tomorrow. I'm a big fan of having a smaller list so you call once a day. If you're trying to reach somebody, try and reach them. Like seriously, call them every single day. Because you're using technology, it's just 2 clicks anyways, right? Matthew Herring is a really good point. I'm not going to kick that lead out of my system forever. I'm just going to...
Great. I know you're not expecting my call. Do you mind if I take a few moments to tell you why I'm calling and you can decide if it makes sense if we should continue speaking?
Okay.
So typically, speaking to economic developers like yourself at cities similar to Panama City, Florida, they're having several challenges. They're attending too many events to actually meet with companies that would turn into projects and jobs for their region. And they're losing out to competitor locations as well for job creation and investment. I'm just curious, how do either of these challenges affect you and your team at the moment?
No, I think we're good at the moment.
Great. Sounds well. If everything's going really well, probably shouldn't make any changes. Curious, who are you working with at the moment?
Who are we working with? As in, what does that mean?
So, when you're looking to get to companies that could invest or expand or relocate, are you using any kind of external lead generation firm?
Yep. We have a consultant that we use, a company called NextSite.
NextSite. Oh, yeah, I've heard of them. They're really great. So sounds like that's going really well from what you said before.
It is. Yep.
Perfect. Well, yeah, I mean, if it's you know, you probably want to stick with those guys. You know, if you're not having any issues in attracting, you know, keeping jobs and growing your projects, then yeah, you don't need to do anything at all.
Yep. And you haven't said who you're calling from or anything. I imagine this is a pitch for similar services. But,
that's a great question. That's a great question, Greg. So my name is Charlotte. I'm calling from Investment Monitor, and we work with what I thought might be interesting to you. We've worked with some locations like Florida Power and Light, Jobs Ohio, Charleston Regional Development Alliance, and you know, they were like you. They were doing really, really well. And they realized that around about like 92% of the pipeline just wasn't converting into projects. So we helped them to address that without them having to attend so many events and trade shows.
Gotcha. Well, yeah, you're welcome to send me some info to my email.
Yeah, I've got your email, but typically sometimes when people ask me to send them an email, it's sort of difficult to know what to put in that email. What I'm going to suggest to you, Gray, is that we have a 15-minute conversation next week when I'm not cold calling you out the blue. And then, you know, I can show you the case study for Charleston that I was just mentioning. And then we can decide if this is relevant for you or not.
Yeah, I mean, we're happy with what we have right now. So if you don't want to send anything, that's totally fine.
Yeah, sure, I'll do that. And if it's easier for you, because it sounds like you're in the middle of something, I can hear a bit of noise in the background. I'll put some time for a call 2 weeks out from now so that we don't have to scheduling talk about.
Call. We're happy with who we have. So if you need a call in order to send me a marketing brochure or pamphlet, then yeah, I mean, your pitch is about needing more time. But you know, you're asking me to spend time on that when we already have a consultant. So you're welcome to email me a pamphlet, brochure, marketing documents, anything you guys have put together. If you don't have anything, or if you need a phone call, then don't worry about it.
Sure, I'll do that. Thanks for your time.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. A live one, huh?
That was, we're really happy with what we have. We're working with a company actually that I hadn't heard of. But he was like, just send me some info. And I was like, yeah, I want to do. Yeah, like normally, you know, so I called it out and, you know, for what it was. I probably was a little bit pushy there. It's like I took some time on the calendar, and then I sort of at the end was like, oh, well, why don't I send you an invite? I don't think I probably could have phrased that a bit better. And then, you know, we'll book something for 2 weeks out. But yeah, he was quite, everything's going really well. And what I think works in that situation is pushing the person. So you say to the person, look, if everything's going really well, then you probably don't need to make any changes. And I kept saying that. And he just was like, there was this pause. And he's thinking, well, hang on a minute. This is the sales call. He didn't say that, but he was thinking that, you know, and I was like, why is she saying that I don't need to make any changes if everything's going really well? Surely she's going to push her, you know, a product on me or a solution on me. And then I did mention a few locations. I was like, okay, look, you know, everything's going really well for them. However, they, you know, were still not converting a lot of their pipeline into projects and jobs. So, you know, that was my sort of, okay, you can take this or leave this now.
Yeah. I like that. I like that a lot. So this mirrors really well this concept. And I'm sure a lot of people that are watching this, by the way, they get that objection all the time.
Yeah, just send me some info. Everything's going really well.
Everything's good for us, right? Everything's good for us, right? So the idea that I always try to get my SDRs, and I talk about this in my online course, by the way, I got an online course on cold calling. There are two things that we can talk about in cold calls. And I use this metaphor or I use this like example so that like the SDRs that work with me have seen me do this a lot. I go like this. What is this? These are business problems, right? Business problems. Oh, not enough people, not enough time, need more money, budgets are tight, blah, 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 business problems, right? But over here, on the other hand, are valuable solutions that we provide, that your company, that your service does. Now, on a cold call, you should only ever be talking about these things, these two things. Why? Because this is what leads to change. And what is sales? Change. What do salespeople get paid to do? Get organizations, people, money changing from one thing to another in a period of time. That is what sales does. You are a change agent. You are here to change people. Sales is not order taking, sales is not all that. Like sales is change. You are trying to inspire change. People only change for these two reasons. That's it. Because they have business problems they got to solve, and they know you have a solution for it. So in that case, you did a really good job of identifying that he doesn't have a business challenge. And it's important that like people understand that it could be either. Because if you just call and you simply talk about problems, a lot of people, number one, don't want to talk about their problems. Number two, they're not going to admit it to someone they don't know on the phone. So instead of losing the status quo, kind of switching like you did to saying, well, here's some ways that we've actually helped companies or municipalities just like yours, like showing that valuable solution. So business challenges and valuable solutions. Hey, this is Kevin with Silver Sky. Jim, how you doing today? Not a good time. He said not a good time, and he hung up on me. Cool. Love that. Like, look, save me time.
Did he hear you say not a good time?
No, he hung up immediately. He said that in my ear. He's like, not a good time, and hung up like in a second, which is fine. I'm using a process that I will get right in front of him next time I dial this list. No problems. No need to ever force anything. Nick, how you doing today? Kevin with Silver Sky Technology.
With who?
I'm with a company called Silver Sky Technologies. Did I catch you with a minute to have a quick conversation here, or you head down on something else?
To have a good conversation? No, I don't know about that, but how can I help you?
Well, I noticed, are you still over at
Yeah.
Fantastic. I guess one of the reasons I'm reaching out here, we've been trying actively to expand our partner network, and we work with a wide range of what we call CSDs. Some of them are shops very similar to yourself that provide IT services of all sorts and shapes. Do you guys have a reseller program or a partner network program?
Not really.
Okay. Do you guys ever find yourself in situations to have conversations about cybersecurity? I'm on your website and I'm not really seeing a cybersecurity component.
Yeah, we have a department for that.
Aha. Do you know who I would want to reach out to potentially to share kind of what Silver Sky does different?
Yeah, I don't do that. I don't give out information. Enough solicitation calls.
Right.
You already have my information, so I'm assuming you have my email.
Yeah.
Send me something, I can forward it over to the individual, and if they want to reach out, they will.
Yeah, so just to be clear, I'm not selling anything. We don't sell directly to IT partners like yourself. We would partner, right? And that partnership would allow you guys to introduce us to your customers.
I understand that. Yeah.
Okay.
But again, it's the same thing, right? Between the 20 to 30 email, solicitation emails, the 5 to 10 different phone calls, it's just out of respect. I don't give out that information to, somebody else in the company. So I'll take in the information and pass it on to them, but I'm not going to give you the information.
Okay. Makes sense. Okay, well, I'm going to shoot you an email with our information. Maybe you can forward it to the right person. Is that fair?
Will do. Thanks.
Awesome. Talk to you later. Cheers. Okay, so interesting wrinkle. This guy ended up in my list, right? This is a list of folks that are in the IT field. He happens to work at an IT reselling company. So not every sale is the same. Not every cold call is the same. Not every person out there is someone you should be selling directly to. for my client, Silver Sky, they actually do a large amount of revenue, like 80%, like a lot. I don't know the official numbers, a lot of revenue through the channel, partner channel. So this company is an IT reseller that resells everything, printing management, cloud communication network, output management, telecom. They would be a good partner channel opportunity for us. But that guy was very defensive, and he kind of threw me into a bundle with every other person. It's like, oh, I get 10 calls a day, I get 30 emails a week from solicitors. What do you think of that term, solicitor? I really don't like the term solicitor.
Where was this? Because in the UK, a solicitor is an attorney.
It's a lawyer. Right?
Yeah. But when you solicit something, it doesn't have a good connotation. Yeah, I don't know why in the UK an attorney is called a solicitor, but I agree. I think it's like you soliciting information. Something wrong with it, right? Hi, I'm looking to speak with Wanda Profit.
I'm sorry, she's not in at the moment. May I take a message?
Sure. Can you tell her that this is Charlotte Lloyd from Investment Monitor?
Okay, just a moment. I got to get a paper. We're sitting here eating. Okay, Charlotte Lloyd.
Yeah.
And you're with who?
Investment Monitor.
I'm sorry, they're talking. I couldn't hear you.
Can hear me. Investment Monitor.
Investment Monitor. Your number, Charlotte?
Okay, so I've got I'm outside the US, so it's +34.
Charlotte with Investment Monitor? No.
Yeah.
What is it in reference to?
Hi, what was this in reference to?
Yeah, sure. I was calling her about losing projects to competitor locations.
No, we're not interested.
Hung up on me. We're not interested.
Yep. So what's interesting is like what I teach now. I don't know if you have a different kind of way of thinking about this, but what I teach SDRs is to never tell someone who's not the target what this is about. Meaning,
so she passed the phone on to Wanda. So I had the gatekeeper.
Oh, it was the target.
And then Wanda came on because I could hear her in the background going, "Who is this? What's it about?" And then she picks up the phone.
Oh, it's one of those. Okay, so it wasn't the gatekeeper that you told that. It was
in the beginning.
Yeah. And then she passed it to the target. Because one of the mistakes that like early reps make is they like pitch anybody. They'll pitch anybody who like picks up the phone.
What do you typically say when you get a gatekeeper? So you just say, "Can you?" I always like normally I'd say like, "How can you?" Hey, this is Charlotte from Investment Monitor. I wanted to speak to Wanda Profit. Are you able to help me?
Yeah, I would say that. So there are two big strategies that I use when it comes to getting the gatekeeper to cooperate with you. I think that's the way to say it, right? I think the first is to be very direct, and very direct does not sound like this. Hey, I was hoping to talk to Charlotte. Do you know if Charlotte's available? Being very direct sounds like this. Hey, it's Kevin for Charlotte. Thank you. Like, whoa, right? Like, okay. Okay, right? Like that's like the vibe that you give on the phone. It's Kevin for Charlotte. Just that's not rude. It's not false. It's not lying. It's not Charlotte's expecting my call. It's Kevin for Charlotte.
Yeah, it's abrupt and it's to the point. I like that.
That's how lawyers talk. That's how important
people talk. It implies that it puts you. I mean, you're never below the person that you're speaking to. This is what I always say to people on a cold call: is you go in thinking that you're below that person, and I did for a very long time. But yeah, the authority in your voice is like, hey, I'm the same as the person that I want to speak to, which you are, So
yes, exactly. And the other is to take the long game approach, where if you're not getting through after a few different times of talking to the same gatekeeper, I do advise getting to know the gatekeeper and saying, hey, is this Steve again? Or is this Janice again? Yeah, Janice. Hey, look, I've called a few times here and I'm only reaching out because it's part of my job. And I honestly think I can have a good conversation here. Between you and me, am I ever going to talk to them on the phone? And if you like lean forward and have this like honest conversation, more times than not, they will tell you straight up, yeah, actually, if you call during a time when they're available, I will pass you through. Or they'll say, no, it's my job to make sure that no one ever gets through on this number. So that just tells you as the caller, cool, this phone number, not going to work to talk to this target, period. Now I can move on. Now I can either try and find another number, a cell phone number. I can use email, or I could use LinkedIn, or I could send them something in the mail. You can do something else. But identifying what channel people communicate most frequently in is one of the tasks that sales development is tasked with, right? So if you can identify that, it's a small win in itself. Well, Charlotte, it's about time for us to end the show. Wanted to say thank you so much for coming on Hop on Calls. For everybody that's listening here, check out the podcast. Morgan Janiger was on last week. An episode dropped today. We got another episode dropping on Thursday. Charlotte's podcast is going to be dropping next week. It's always a week behind. And a shout out once again to our sponsor, Kixie. Charlotte, talk about your experience with Kixie. Has it been good, bad, amazing, terrible?
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Can't recommend it more. And this is someone that hasn't used an auto dialer before.
There you go. I love it. Well, Charlotte, what way can people connect with you? What can people do to follow you? Just LinkedIn, or do you have a fan club? Do you have a newsletter? Anything you want to promote? Yeah,
so I'm on LinkedIn, Charlotte Lloyd Sales. I'm also on TikTok, Charlotte Sales Tips. Yeah, Charlotte Sales Tips. So I do put different cold call tips on there. I've got a newsletter, so if you go to my new Charlotte Sales Shares, not Charlotte Seashells, somebody said to me. How dare you call it that? Charlotte Sales Shares. It's a weekly newsletter with a tip every week. So look at cold calling, all sort of different things to do with sales, but love cold calling. And that's where you can find me. So DM me on LinkedIn. I usually respond. I've got a lot of messages at the moment, but I will respond. If you send me a bad outreach, I won't respond.
All right.
And you'll know why.
Yeah. Do your homework if you're reaching out to Charlotte. But Charlotte, thank you so much for tuning in. I know it's late evening for you, so I'm going to let you get back to your Tuesday night. And everybody else, see you next Tuesday, same time, same place. Let's make some live cold calls. Cheers.
Thanks for having me, Kevin. It's been amazing.
And that's all we got for today's episode of Hop on Calls, powered by Kixie. Be sure to tune into the live recordings every Tuesday on LinkedIn. Would love to have your comments, reactions, questions. It's a really good learning environment for anyone that is looking to do outbound sales better. If your organization is actively focusing on this, feel free to reach out to me, Kevin Hopp, on LinkedIn, or go to hoppconsultinggroup.com. I'll see you next time. Cheers.